You all were in the finals last in 2019, but now it's 2022. For you, what have you learned in that space and maybe changed or adjusted or grown as a coach in that time?
Well, I think you're always growing in this job. You know, there's so much to learn. The game is always changing. Trends are changing. Your roster changes, so you have to adapt accordingly. So I think I improve every year as a coach. But one thing that's been reaffirmed, not that I needed to know this, but you got to have health, you got to have talent, you know, and we have that this year. You know, the last couple of years have been tough with a lot of injuries, some absences, but I'm really proud of this team and the organization for developing some young guys, and then of course our core guys, getting back to this point after a tough couple of years. It's quite an accomplishment.
That balance is hard to strike, and I was chatting with my producer yesterday getting ready for this interview, and I was remembering the first time I ever covered you, and we were in Portland, and you'd just come back from having back surgery. For you, how is your health? How are you doing? How is it to be, I hope, pain-free on the sidelines?
No, it's great to be in this space again where I don't have to, think about that stuff and worry about that stuff. I can come to the arena and coach, and I think especially as you get older, you come to appreciate health more and more. And so many of my friends and my peer group have gone through, stuff, and so it's part of life. So you just deal and you keep moving.
Looking ahead to the game, Boston, in some ways, they have the youth, they have the talent, they have the inexperience. Does it remind you at all of the first group that you took to the finals?
I mean, I think maybe in that, you got to get over the hump, and they've broken through now. But I look at this team, and I see a lot of experience. They've been to the Eastern Conference Finals 4 of the last 6 years. Their core of Marcus and Jalen and Jason, they've been together for a while. Now they have some younger guys, but Al Horford is 34, 35, playing at a high level. He was a Celtic for many years. So they're not as young as you're making them out to be. Let's put it that way.
Sure. I mean, that's fair. When you look at this group, though, Andrew Wiggins has been so key. You've trusted him with some key defensive assignments, and you have experience with onboarding a star in Kevin Durant and then having him depart. And I don't want to compare them as players. That's not what I'm interested in doing. But both stars in their own right. We're talking about an Andrew Wiggins, a number 1 pick. What did you learn about going through those experiences in the past that maybe helped you with his assimilation here?
I think the biggest thing is we just have a group of guys who play well together and enjoy assimilating others. Whether it was Kevin, all those years ago, joining a team with Steph and having Steph be so agreeable, or a guy like Wiggs, who obviously wasn't nearly as accomplished as Kevin, but a lot of talent, a lot of ability, and needed to figure out his role with his team. So we're so lucky to have Steph, Draymond, Klay, Andre, who are basketball players. They understand the game. They understand that a guy like Wiggs has so much value. And then the ability each day to make Andrew feel a part of it, to show him where we need him. It's all come to fruition in the playoffs. We would not be here without Wiggs. I mean, his defense throughout the playoffs has been amazing. The threat he provides offensively gives us another dynamic. It's just been beautiful to watch him blend in with the core group.
There was a stat that our researcher Caesar pulled up the other day that surprised me. Since you took the helm, Boston is the only team in the NBA that has a winning record against the Warriors in your time span. Why is that?
Should I feel bad about that?
I don't think so.
I feel pretty good about that.
Focus on the 29, not the 1.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We've had great games against them. Brad Stevens, Danny Ainge, they built a really strong foundation with this team, much like Bob Myers did with our team. So we've had some amazing battles with Boston. They're super talented. They've always been great defensively. Hopefully we have Another great matchup this time around, but I have no answer for you on that.
I mean, I think that's fair. When we look at the Golden State Warriors, so many talk about this as a modern dynasty, as the current dynasty. You played for another dynasty in the Chicago Bulls. You went to 3 championships of the 6 that Michael Jordan went to, and this is 6 for you and the Golden State Warriors. Is there one that you reflect on with more pride, or is it just a different pride?
With pride?
Yeah.
It's different as a coach than as a player. As a player, you're really locked in on your own job and what you have to do to prepare yourself. And even though you're part of a team and you're part of a collective, you're really focused on what do I need to do today. As a coach, you're kind of thinking about everybody. I got to talk to this guy, I got to talk to that guy, I got to make sure he's ready. And you feel responsible for everybody. So in some ways, it's even more rewarding to win a championship as a coach because you can kind of sit back and look at how happy everybody is. And that was how I felt last week when we clinched the West, to get here, to get back here, and to see the joy on the faces of our players and front office and ownership. Nobody knew if we'd ever make it back here. Yeah. So it's pretty cool to be back, but obviously we got one more.
6 times. Steph, you, Draymond Green, but a whole lot has changed since 2019. How have you changed, not just as players, but as people since all that went down?
A few more battle scars, a few more L's we had to endure for a couple years, and I think we all mentally just appreciate just being here and the stuff that comes with it, the cameras, the interviews. It's just a real privilege, and we know what it takes to get here, so we're going to enjoy this one a little more than we did probably in years prior, just because of what we had to go through to get here.
Well, and you had to go through a lot to get here. There was so much from injuries that you needed to work through, and then you get back on the court and you're with Steph Curry. I wonder if that time away, did it change the way you view playing with him?
Definitely. Not just Steph either. Draymond, Andre, Loon, all our young bucks, our coaching staff, our front office. We try to work in unison. All the best organizations do in any sport, from top to bottom, have a transparency and cohesiveness that you don't see a lot of other places. So when I step back on the floor, I just appreciate all the little things that you didn't do when you were injured, like taping for a game, those butterflies in your stomach when the lights are the brightest. When you're out and you're injured, you just got to watch and you just got to be a great teammate. But there's nothing like competing and being on the biggest stage in basketball.
Well, now you're back on the biggest stage in basketball. And I think offensively, everyone sort of expected the other Splash brother to come back and not miss a beat. But defensively, how would you evaluate where you're at?
I feel great. I mean, I think using my size and my length, being able to guard multiple positions is a plus for any lineup we have out there. And although my lateral quickness might not be what it was a few years ago, I can still use my size to play great positional defense. I know that's something probably Perk knows about, playing in the post all these years. RJ, not so much. I don't know. He was kind of like a matador on defense. But other than that, I mean, I'm just happy to be competing, and I take pride on both sides of the ball, and just having fun. Sorry, RJ, I didn't mean to go at your defensive ability, but I've been waiting for that.
We'll give him a chance to respond to that in just a little bit. But before we do, on the other side of the ball, we're talking about looking at Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. What kind of a challenge do they pose to you all?
Well, Tatum has been incredible these playoffs, obviously. We've been watching him, the ball in his hands. He's an incredible scorer. Same with Brown, just the force he plays with at the rim. His jump shot's greatly improved since he's been his rookie year, and now he's a threat at all 3 levels. So they definitely present a big challenge for us. Like I said in previous series, it can't be something we do individually. We can make our best effort individually, but it's got to be the team on a string defensively. It's got to be sharp with our rotations, and we know their stars will get their numbers, but it's also about limiting their role players to propel them to series wins because of them knocking down open shots or getting extra possessions. And it's just a great challenge, and we're ready for it.
Well, I know the expectations from the outside are immense, but internally, that's what matters. What are the expectations that you've set for yourself here?
Just to enjoy every night in these finals. Enjoy this interview, as painful as and awkward I am with the mic in my face, but
It's all right. We got the ball. So
okay, that's what I'm,
See?
so it's here for the icebreaker. My expectation is just to be a force on both sides, shoot efficiently, play very good defense on whoever's in front of me. And we expect to win the series. We know how hard it will be. Obviously, this team is battle-tested. They've been playing, even though they're very young, they've played in a ton of high-pressurized situations. So we know these lights and this stage won't phase them. So it's up to us to, play with great force and have that ball moving around, zipping around, hitting the open man. And we expect to win just like we did in the previous years. But it's basketball. This is what we've all been programmed to do since we were kids.
Absolutely.